Hello, we finally got it to work. I'll be right there, okay, guys? Thank you for finding the way to fix it. Oh, okay. Remember, your mic is on.
I loves me some modern technology.
Yeah, we'll be right there. It has been a zoo. But somehow a setting got changed on my camera. Oh, it's been a week too. We had the hurricane, what the remnants go through. A couple bits of trees came down.
We actually had our neighbor lost a huge tree which came across our property and knocked down a bunch of big branches off of one of our, what is it? Is that an oak? Or?
Yeah, we lost half of one of our oaks. So it's been an interesting week, fellas, let me tell you. Oh gosh, I'll be right there. The benefit of having children. I'm less flappable. Okay. Okay. Hi guys, I'll be right there. You know what? I need to go and tell people that I am on. Let me see.
Just make sure you, yeah, there you go. Make sure you open a different window. Don't close that other one.
New topic. Okay, I'm almost there, guys. I'll be right there. Woo! What a morning. Not going to be much, just a little.
Don't worry if I'm not back on the bike by exactly 5.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah, I think you need.
We'll have some nice dinner later.
I think you need some quiet time, and I felt like it was a little better, a little less humid today and cooler. So enjoy. I
just want to make sure you get on.
Oh no, thank you. I'm sorry I was losing it. It's almost like makes me wonder if there's a gremlin in our system. Okay. Good enough. Good enough.
Need something harder.
Might want one of those. Okay, I am so sorry. This is totally weird. We were down here getting ready to get on the show, and somehow,
An internal
yeah,
setting.
the
Denied
internal
permission.
setting said, "Don't allow YouTube to use your camera and microphone." What? So we were trying everything.
Is it working? Is everybody seeing and hearing you?
I think so. Can everyone see and hear me? I hope. But oh, and me being who I am, I thought, well, if I can't get on, I don't want to put makeup on for nothing. So that's why all of a sudden we got it on. It was like, oh, hurry. Good. I'm so glad. That is so weird. Thank you, hon. He was so patient. I was losing it. I was starting to freak out because he said it's not recognizing your camera and your microphone. It was like, what? How could it not recognize? And so he went upstairs. He thought about it. He came back down. But I mean, it was 10 minutes of absolute terror and frustration. So I don't know what is going on, but it's been a crazy week. We had the remnants, the tropical storm come through here, and our road, a tree fell right across the road, and Mark had to call the city to get it cleaned up. Turned out it was a neighbor's tree that fell towards one of our trees and sadly broke off half of my big oak tree. But you know, what are you going to do? Nature has her own mind of what she wants to do. So I apologize. It's just been a crazy, crazy week. But I'm hoping I will pull myself together, and because I was losing it, very frankly, I was losing it. I'll try to pull myself together and let's continue on with this show. But we've had our power blip numerous times. Oh, we had our internet go out for most of a day. Well, maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe about 5 hours. That somewhere, some utility cut the fiber optic cable for our internet. So that was fun. It took out most of North Carolina if you belong to Spectrum. So Mark was working and boom, out it went. And that was that. So, and you know, nowadays with modern technology, if we lose our internet, we lose our TV, did we lose our cell phones? We might have even lost our cell phones. It is because everything runs off our router. So hello and thank you, Elaine. I need to take a very deep breath. So this week I have been very busy. Oh, I've got to tell you this because it's so exciting. You know how I'm supposed to be working on the Colorwash quilts that we were doing? Well, I said that we were doing them Rowland style, Rowland, Perry with a Y, Rowland. She left a message on one of my color wash videos saying that she was happy that I was enjoying using my own version of her style of color wash quilting. I was so excited. So I wrote her back and told her, thank you. Oh, how thrilling to hear from her. And that I first saw it from the last Homely House and Kate Jackson over in England. And then I found her, and what a delightful, wonderful way of doing scrap quilts. Because you know, I'm not a scrappy person. And to all of a sudden be turned on to scrappy quilts by such a fun quilt has been a real revelation for me. So I'm thrilled. And the quilt behind me is a Christmas quilt that I made 10 or 12 years ago. And it normally hangs on my living room. And I love it so much. Let me get get you to be able to see it. I love it so much that it tends to hang there all year long. And so what I did is, my little beach cabana quilt that I showed you last week that has all of the little extras, buttons and appliques and all of that on it, charms, everything. Well, I got so tickled seeing that again. I thought, why isn't that hanging in my living room? Because it is summer. So I took it up and said, Mark, can we change out the quilt? And then I thought, this one sits on the living room wall so much. I don't know if y'all have seen it ever or in a great while, but I love a combination. It's a very traditional quilt. I love the combination of piecing and hand applique. And that was all needle turn applique. And I had a lot of fun quilting it. And in fact, it's one of my better quilting jobs, believe it or not. So, and I love that it's different colors. In fact, let me show you some up close and personal. Let me get my zoom in. I did hollies and berries on that blue inner border. See the little holly leaves and the berries? And then I love my echo quilting that I did around the applique. I thought, let's see what I can do. So I ended up having a lot of fun working on this. Laura, it made me so happy to hear from Terry Rowland. And I hope some of you have checked out her site and show her some appreciation. Because, people that not everybody that does YouTube gets monetized. I don't even know if she is or not. But I do know that we do it out of a love for the craft. Hold on. My rubber band holding this. This was destined not to be a classy show day. So this is going to be the little misfit show day. But anyway, that is a very sweet pattern. I remember buying when I bought the fabric. I bought it from a quilt shop in Gastonia, North Carolina, because we had gone on a group trip to see Mary Jo's quilt shop. And then we stopped at a shop called So Much Fun. And I found this fabric and was totally in love. It has terracotta. It has an olive green. It has that turquoisey blue. I mean, it's just a fun quilt. So I really like it. So this week I've been busy. I decided I want to get this quilt done because I'm working on a baby quilt for my son's, one of his best friends. They're due to have their baby in September. So this time I said, let's get it done before the baby comes. So I have done a really good job of getting this quilt done. And it's funny because I showed you just a little part of it last week. And I thought, I just didn't know if I really liked it. And once I did the quilting, I love it. And that is kind of the funny thing. Hold on, I'm looking for a rubber band. I want to be able to show you the quilt, but I've got the binding partly put on, and it's a lot of binding, and I don't want it to fall apart when I'm trying to show you this baby quilt. But once I did the quilting, it came together, and then I love it. So I'm going to stand up and show you this baby quilt, and I will finish the binding in the next day or two. Then I'm going to wash it and wash it carefully, not put You don't want to do a lot of fabric softeners. You want to just use very light, easy things. And because I want to wash it, because I want to get any chemicals that have remained on the fabric while I worked on it. And that way too, it'll get the shrinking done. I use Warm and Natural, I believe is the name of it, cotton batting. That has a shrinkage of about 3%. So I want to have that part done. Let me show you. But I pulled it off the frame last night, and be good binding. But here is the quilt. And here it is. And let me show you the quilting, because it really does come together once you see the quilting. It's amazing what the quilting will do to it. So let me show you the back. And that really, it just gives it depth. It gives it character. And I'll show you that the border I did in loops and hearts. Loops and hearts. Then the fabric that had the whales on it, I did waves. Then the little fussy cut cornerstones right here, I just did inside and outside around the wreath. Then I did the half square triangles, that traditional curved triangle. Then the fussy cut centers that have the bunny, I did a heart around the bunny. So, and one other place. The stripe, since it was geometric, I did the little half round loops, I guess you'd call. Oops, that's upside down. Let me hold it right side up. So there it is, and I quilted it in one day, which for me is like a new record. But you can tell when I get busy, when I have a deadline, I can get it done. But so what I did with the binding is I cut the striped fabric so that it's going to go on. I've always wanted to do this. It's going to go onto the quilt, and the stripes are going to show around the edge. And I thought that will make it, I think it'll give it a smart look. So that's what it's going to look like. So I'd love to say I'm going to use Jody's competition method of binding, but honestly, I'm tired. I might not. I mean, Jody's method is so cool, and it really does give a nice corner. I got to figure out how to do it, and it might be a little hard for this poor brain. But anyway, I'm very pleased with it. I hope they like it. I don't know if the baby's a boy or girl, so I put some pink blocks in. I put blue in, and that's why I wanted to emphasize the green and white stripe, because that gives you a pretty good neutral. And I wanted the colors of it to be kind of neutral like, because I don't know how what their decorating style is or anything. So I hope you like it. The back is flannel. So that should be pretty comfortable. And that's another reason that I want to get it washed and get that flannel to fluff up. But it's not perfect. I could show you a few mistakes I made or where things didn't quite line up, but I put a lot of love in it, and I think that's the important part. So, okay. Oh, I'll show you first. Remember last week I told you that I'm working on volunteering for a campaign for the November elections. I'm handwriting postcards. I've got to tell you, what was I thinking when I volunteered to handwrite postcards? I have a trimmer. And I don't usually write handwriting. I usually work on the computer on everything. So I had to work so hard. I had to make sure I had the trimmer medicine. And then I'm sitting there and I'm like practicing and then writing. What am I going to say? Okay, I tend to be a little talkative. Let me reduce what I'm going to say because I've got to write that. And I figured I can manage 10 of these a night. Of course, I brought home 60 of them. So, but they're not due in until August 31st. And I take them back in there and then they mail them right. So they'll be there right before the election. But I figured if I do 10 a night, I can get them done and then I'll drop them off. But it's to me, even though it's so hard to try to get my handwriting to be legible, at least I'm doing something and it's easier than going door to door. I'm not a door to door person. If I tried to go door to door, I would end up apologizing to everyone that I disturbed by knocking on their door. And then if I phoned them, I would apologize for interrupting their day with my phone call. So you kind of see the problem with that. Let me close this curtain. The sun is really bright now. And in Maryland, that's where I used to live. In North Carolina, we haven't had sunshine for a couple weeks. So I felt like I was in merry old England. And we have had so much rain. When the tropical storm went through, we were very lucky. Yes, we had some winds, but they said that they could be up to 60 miles an hour. And um, but luckily, we just had brief interludes of wind. The tree that fell down right out here and then fell across the street, the whole root ball came up. So, what are you going to do? You have wind after weeks of rain, and that's what happens. Luckily, the city came out and cleared the road. They said they had 70 calls to make. And some people had trees go down over their houses. We really came out very lucky. And in fact, Charlene is here. Charlene, sweetheart, how are you? Did anyone else have a problem with, did anyone have, Charlene, how was the hurricane for you, darling? But we had over 3.5 inches of rain in just a couple of hours. And we're real lucky where we are. We're not prone to flooding, but there were plenty of areas around here that did flood. So, but I'm hoping that Charlene is okay because, she's down in Florida and that's where the storm came through. Luckily, it was on the Gulf side rather than the east side. But boy, did that storm pack a lot of rain. And we were very lucky that it came up through land. And if it goes out on the Atlantic coast and comes in at us that way, that's when it's a mess. Um, you lucked out. Oh, good, good, good. Oh, I'm so happy. I don't know if y'all remember, but a couple years ago. Hi, Brenda. Oh, it's so good to see you. Hi, Brenda. I am in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and so it came right. The center came right through Charlotte and right up through Winston-Salem. Mark's like, "We're gonna get it, hon." But if, just 1.5 trees, we can handle that. I noticed a great big one came down behind us. Luckily, it doesn't look like it hit anything. The neighbor next door had one come it luckily did not hit his house. And then who was it? Somebody else in the neighborhood had a tree come down, and the branches brushed. Oh, the neighbor behind us. That the branches brushed the house, but didn't actually damage it. Oh my goodness. Oh, and to tell you that besides that, the day before we had so much rain, we had a dead pine tree go down that went across our fence towards that neighbor's house. He was kind enough to come tell us because we have 3 dogs. We don't want them to get loose. So the day before the storm hit, Mark was out there for an hour and a half cutting up a dead pine tree, fixing the fence, and he was out there for an hour and a half. And then when this tree came down, he was like, I'm done. I'm done. But I've got to say, we have really nice neighbors. And a neighbor came this morning when Mark was off grocery shopping. A neighbor came and cleaned up what the city hadn't cleaned up. So what good neighbors. So, but luckily it could have been so much worse. And I know a lot of areas. I mean, they were tornadoes. It was a very sassy storm. So, in fact, we lost an elderly woman, had a tree come across her home, and it right where she was. So there was a dear lady that lost her life. So anyway, so this week I have spent most of my time on that baby quilt. And it wasn't a hard quilt to make at all. And I'm really tickled. I saw a picture of this quilt in something, and I said, I know how to make that. You know, once you really understand how to break down a quilt, you can kind of figure it out. So what I did is decided what size block do I want to make. I knew it was a lot of half square triangles. So I decided, okay, what size? I wanted to make 8 at a time, which was perfect because each block needed 8 half square triangles. So it came together really easily. I had to, in order to have enough binding, I had to do some fancy cutting. I wish I had ordered more of the stripe fabric because I ended up loving that the most. So some of it was sewing little pieces together to get the stripe going in the right direction. And I had to piece the back because the flannel wasn't quite as big as what I wanted the quilt to be. But it took some time, but I got it done. Oh, and speaking of that, um, I didn't do any cleaning on the room this week. So I need to get that finished, but I really wanted to buckle down and get this baby quilt done. I don't know about y'all, but if I try to do too many things at once now at this lovely age, I get overwhelmed. So I said, focus on the baby quilt, then we'll worry about other things later. So that's what I did, and it worked out the best for me. So I haven't done any more cleaning of the room, but I will get it done. I'm doing a good job of keeping it clean because that's the big thing. You know, I don't ever want to work this hard to clean a room. So I'm going to try very hard to keep it organized. Well, let me turn on my iron real quick here. And um, I've been working on a few interesting little things because I would work during the day on my machine. Oh, that's what I was supposed to tell you. I had got both of my sewing machines back. One cost $180 to clean and um and fix. One costs $360 to clean and fix, but that's the one I told you that needed the new hook gear because it's split. I mean, it's a nylon. Oh, see, let me turn my hand right. There it is. That's the brake. But both of my machines, even the one I was calling a boat anchor, is now working beautifully. all of a sudden, I went from having my sweet 18-year-old Elna, it was just me and her against the world, to now having 3 very well running machines. All of a sudden, I feel like I've got too many. But I told Mark I was going to sell this Elna. Originally it was a $1,200 machine that I paid $1,050 for. I was going to sell it for $350, but I found, oh no, it was worth a lot when the other 2 machines crapped out on me. But right now, they're working beautifully. And I love my Elna more than anything because she was the only one working when I was getting panicky. And so it all worked out good. So that's a lot to spend to repair the machines. But new machines are very expensive. And so if it had been double the repair cost, I might have considered, should I just get a new one? But no, I can much easily afford that repair than a new machine. And I know people buy those expensive machines, but you know what? I have so much that I love to do, so many interests, and I just can't afford to put that much money in a machine. I would have to give up a lot of other things that I love doing. So for me, it's like that works. And I hear the motorcycle start up. It's actually less humid today, and we haven't been able to see out of our windows in 2 weeks because the double pane windows are everything was just soaking wet on the outside. I mean, humidity that you wouldn't believe. But before I go into what I have done this week, I want to see who's here. I started in such a panic. I don't know who's here. So let's see. I am so tickled to see you, and I'm sorry about I went on the site and said, sorry, I can't get the YouTube to look at my camera, all that. Thank gosh. I don't know where Mark went into settings on somewhere. I don't know why it would have been said, what sites do you not want to have access to your camera? I don't know. Anyway, it's been a tricky week. There's Lisa. She was here bright and early. Thank you, Miss Lisa. Thank you. And Charlene, and I love seeing our Lane from the beautiful, beautiful green. My brain just went whoop. Um, Beautiful green Scotland. And I was gonna tell Elaine, I stayed in Joppa, I think is the way you pronounce it, in a B&B. It was a beautiful stone color Victorian mansion. And it was wonderful. And they had 2 little King Charles pups. And I was missing my pups from home being over there. But Joppa, I believe, because we drove around Edinburgh and then we went to Joppa and stayed. And I loved it. I loved it. So I'm going to one day come back and I'm going to really look around. Oh, you lost power for 8 days with Hurricane Beryl. I'm sorry, Diana. Alberta's here from Alabama. I hope Alabama didn't get too much of the storm, sweetheart. But, Diane 57, how good to see you. There's Jody. Oh, Jody, I think it's your latest show, but you're getting a lot done. I'm really tickled. And the hex season, it's like, oh my goodness. So that was really a great job. But don't forget, our Jody now has her own channel, Quilt Squirrel, and she keeps you up to date with all the things she's done. The only problem, I was thinking about it today, is I don't know how to take still photos from your show because I'd like to show all the things you're working on. I don't know how to do that. So we'll have to talk some point so I can get all of your new projects because I love promoting you and your channel and all the work you're doing. Okay. So Jody's here, Diane, Elaine, Lisa, Charlene is fine from the hurricane. You know, it's kind of funny. Hurricane Isidore was 22 years ago. That really signaled the final end of my first marriage. And it came through and it hit us as a full strength hurricane. And we were off the Chesapeake Bay, about a mile from the Chesapeake Bay. And it came in and just hit Maryland just head on. It knocked down 15 trees, blocked us in. We lost power. It was a mess. It was a mess. And I look back now and go, yep, that was the beginning of the end. Actually, it hadn't been going well for quite a while, but that was the nail in the coffin. So it's hard to feel bad about that hurricane because it led me to a much better life. So that part I'm happy about. But I know hurricanes can change your day. That's for sure. Oh, so Laura, it's so good to see you. And Laura and I often see each other on Wednesday's Textile Talks. And this past week, it was about an Olympian who's also a fiber artist. So it's really cool how they pull it all in and you get to see her amazing artwork. But I love Textile Talks. If you haven't checked in, go to SAQA, go to their website. You'll see a link about Textile Talks. It's absolutely free. You register, it sends you an email. You click the Zoom link every Wednesday, Eastern Time. It's 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. I love it. I feel like I'm taking a class, a free class on textile arts. So let's see. I got to stay focused. I'm a little scattered. I do apologize. That really threw me for a loop. And I wanted to thank our Betty. She sent me, Betty Meisner sent me a note thanking me for working for the campaign. That is so sweet. Oh, Charlene has a question. No, I am picking a number this week, and thank you, those of you who let me know that she had a question. Thank you. That was Diane 57. Diane 57 is another one of our very sharp-eyed people. Okay, so I'm mixing up the numbers without looking. It's number 8. This month for August, it's number 8. Thank you, Charlene, darling, for checking on that because I would have forgotten. I bet you anything I would have forgotten. All right, so that was number 8. Oh, I got to put it over here with the other numbers. Okay. Oh, another public service. Hi, Miss Mary. Another public service announcement. I was working on my long arm and I decided to clean it really good, wipe down all the bar it runs along because that's what there's a bar that um the stitch regulator runs on, and I want to make sure that was clean. I cleaned inside the machine, up in the top, cleaned it good. I went to oil it, and I thought I oil it, and then without thread, I run it. And I thought, no, it should sound quieter after I oil it because you might not have to oil your regular machine, but most long arms you have to oil. And, that one goes like 1,500 stitches a minute at top speed, which I hardly ever go to, but I go pretty fast. Anyway, so I took my oiling pen and I squeezed it and nothing came out. Then it dawned on me, I kind of thought I wasn't using a lot of oil for the last year. I wonder how long it had been since I actually got oil to come out of it and go into the 2 designated places. One's over top, that where the needle, the part of the equipment that in the machine that makes the needle go up and down is supposed to be oiled. The other oiling place is for the hook, and you have to oil the hook. It made me so sad to think that I think I oil it every bobbin or two, and to think that it hadn't been coming out in a while. So Mark worked on it for me, and he thinks he has it working. But before then, I went ahead and took my old oiling bottle, and I oiled it really, really good. So I just wanted to check with y'all. If you have a machine that needs oiled, make sure the oil's actually coming out. Don't just stick it in the little hole and squeeze the bottle, because it might not be coming out. So there's a good public service announcement, because if you don't oil it, eventually it's going to seize up. Once it seizes up, that's it. It would have to have a whole new mechanism put in it, and that would be extremely expensive. All right, so I've been working on the quilt during the day and sometimes in the evening. And then, though, when I would say, I'm going to come and take a rest, I started working again. I think I told y'all last week I was working on the English paper piece. This is block number 10 in the block that I'm working on. I love working on this. I'm going to make sure I always have an English paper piece quilt in progress, because it's so much fun to work on. Here is the block. This one is 60 pieces, and I'll show you what it's going to look like. If you notice, and it's got a bunch of these little triangles, and you notice how it dips down, that's where it's going to have this corner block that will end up making it 12 inches square. But this is so much fun to make, and I was trying last night to get it finished, but I didn't have the right fabric. I needed this floral fabric to put here. So I did fix it. I think I left it upstairs, but I just keep my little baggie. Oh no, here it is. I found some fabric and put it on the little thing, but look at how many of those little triangles. It's a lot. In fact, I can tell you how many. Piece D, 16 of them. So I've done 5 out of 16. But I dearly, dearly love this. And I think I showed you my case last week. And I put some other things in this. It looks silly. But the other thing I've been enjoying, I finished the bobbin lace bookmark exercise number 3. I finished that, but I did not start another one. I just felt like, nope, I have to be calmer before I concentrate on that. But one thing that I did end up working on, besides this English paper piecing, I tell you the truth. Any pattern that has templates, or you can make templates, you can do English paper piecing. And I print out the pieces on cardstock from my printer, cut them out, use a little tube of paper glue, glue stick, and I wrap the fabrics around, and then I just sew, and it is a joy. When I'm not working on it, I keep the needle stuck into the fabric there. My needle had gotten so crooked, it was almost a letter C. So I had to go ahead and break out a new needle. So I told Mark, I said, see, I'm tough on these applique needles. But what a joy that is. So let me put all this in. So the other thing I've been doing is paper beads. And I love my paper beads. I'm going to bring the camera down now to show you. And tell you a little bit about it. Let me get this iron out of the way. Be careful where you grab these cordless irons because I got a finger burnt the other day. I stuck my finger down in the thing to move it and I hit the sole of the iron and ouch, that did hurt. So let me bring this stuff up here. But both my machine. Oh, I wanted to tell you, just in case you live anywhere near here, my very favorite sewing machine mechanic. I have been taking all my stuff to him now for a year and a half, and I love it. It's Triad Sew and Vac. Triad Sew and Vac on Peters Creek Parkway in Winston-Salem. And they're fast. They are so good. And they call you if they have to buy parts. They call you, get your approval. I really, really, I think his name is David at Triad Sew and Vac. And I tell you what, when you find a good sewing machine mechanic, they become your best friend. All right, so I'm going to bring you down now to show you what I have been doing. Oh, and before I get into this, remember, I mentioned Terry Rowland wrote and told me she was tickled that I liked her method and her quilt, her color wash quilts. Remember that when you use someone's idea, try to give them the credit because it really does mean a lot. I mean, what Terry Rowland invented is really great and it's given me such joy. So it's a good thing to give people that attention and turn people to their site. So when you leave a message on their site, whatever, mention what they do. All right, I've got two different kinds of beads. The main beads that I want to talk about. Do you know? Let me bring the light over here. I've gotten those metallic paints that I use to paint the dot mandalas. Let me find a really good one here. The paper the box was wrapped in was like a plastic coated paper over cardboard, and it's holographic. So it's really, really pretty. And I wish I could show you exactly how it shimmers, but it's holographic paper. I looked at that paper and said, oh my gosh, what a shame to waste that. But I didn't need the box, I needed to throw it away. Here is the holographic paper. So what I did, and look at how they colored. Now remember these dots, because I'm going to show you Betty's picture and what she did. But this is that holographic paper. What I did is I opened the box up. I took it apart so it would lay flat. Then I carefully peeled that plasticized paper away from the cardboard because I didn't want to roll a bead out of cardboard, but I didn't want to waste this amazing holographic paper. So I just very carefully peeled it all away from the cardboard because it was pretty sturdy cardboard. Then I cut it in strips, glued it to junk mail. Okay. Glued it to junk mail. That's what I always do. Okay. Now, so then after I rolled it, I took my paper scissors and I just gave it, I see that, isn't that cool? I just gave it a little trim with the scissors, and I have a heavy duty nail file that sometimes I will file over them. But I just wish you could see this in person. It is such beautiful holographic paper. And so now, once they were trimmed, then I put a layer of my triple thick Deco Art gel gloss over them. And they're just, to me, they're absolutely beautiful. You can better see the pattern in the lighter colors. but I just think they are so beautiful. Now, I'm going to have to, before I put my second coat on, I'm going to have to re-glue that down. Sometimes when you're doing paper beads, they'll pop open a little, but this is so pretty. I wish you could see in person. It just kind of glows with these holographic lines. So to me, this was too pretty to throw away. Now, there's another thing that I do. I will get things in the mail that are like this, and they're thick like cardstock, and but on the other side, often they're plain. And when that happens, I get my Sharpie markers out and I start doodling, any kind of doodling. And then after I doodle, I color in the doodles. So here are some beads I made out of junk cardstock that came in. And I think that it just looks so pretty. So I keep doing rainbow things, but I don't need that many rainbow necklaces. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to try to pick a color scheme, like maybe just all neutral greens or whatever. So now I pretend that I've already got two, maybe three layers of the sealer on this. What do I do next with that bead? Because right now it still looks like a paper bead. So what I was going to show you, I grabbed this before I came upstairs. What I do is I have this nice thick gold metallic, because I think gold would go well with that holograph, and I take it in this little top and I just tap, tap, tap. I tap it on the end of the bead. That way you don't have to, any paper that shows, just tap it on. That way you don't have to buy expensive metal fittings to give the bead a finished look. So now once it goes on an elastic band to make it into a necklace, let me just get it cleaned up good, then it'll have a nice finished gold edge. So I just thought I'd show you. So I'd put the gold on that end, put it on here to dry. When that end is fully dry, I will turn it over and do the same thing to the other end, and then the bead will be done. And I've now started to actually, and I have black. Some beads look really good with black. Some beads look really good with silver. And these are just regular acrylic metallic paints that I think you would like. So I wanted to show you that. And then this was another piece of junk mail. And so when I get a junk postcard, sometimes they have the prettiest of the finishes and designs. I carefully go to the corner and start to peel it, and then very slowly pull the postcard in half. And when you do that, then it is much easier. Like this is the other half of this mailer. So you can see it's just the rough pulp part, but on here it's nice and clean and finished. And so, but I find postcards I peel open. If they don't peel, I throw them away. But here I could take and do like a feather, and I could come in. Sometimes I just kind of use some of my quilting designs. And in fact, my hand, I did not take my trimmer meds, but you could do a feather, you could do a flower, just whatever whatever kind of little doodling you want to do. And a stem and a leaf. So, anyway, but you do that, and then you just start, you pick colors, and you just start coloring in. And then you let it, when your whole thing is covered, then you let it dry, and then you cut it up. And for something like if I do my hand drawing on it, and I'll have this whole thing covered, and then I will cut it in long strips because that way you can make more beads. I never cut this into a skinny strip because so much of the bead that you make is not seen. Now with this one, I went ahead and made barrel beads. So in that case, you have to make what looks like a long triangle. But with here, I will just make two beads. But anyway, just use your Sharpies and have fun. And just sit while you're watching TV. I just sit and color, and it makes it very, very easy. So, and I have bunches of Sharpies. Every birthday and Christmas, I ask for them. But here's just to show you, this is a barrel bead, which I just hand cut into a long, long triangle. I'm going to, here are some other beads, because this week I've been trying to catch up on the bead work. I have to be in the mood to do it. So I tried to catch up. Here's another one of those paint container wrapper beads, the holographic. That is so pretty. Here's some more of the art paper that I, the doodle paper I did. Here are, this is from a quilt magazine. It's the cover, and that makes a right nice one. And the other side had a very busy quilt on it. This was, I think, an AQS magazine. But I just love doing these. Now, I told Mark, I probably have 5 or 6 gallon bags of these things. I'm going to go through them, and the ones that I don't like, I'm going to throw away. And then the ones I like, I'll keep. And but the benefit is it gave me something mindless to do at the end of a day, something I could enjoy. And so it doesn't have to do anything beyond that. I've already gotten my enjoyment out of it. So there is that. But anyway, I wanted to show you a couple other pieces of junk mail. Some of this stuff, it's a shame to waste. It comes in the mail and it's good, heavy stuff. So it gives me a chance to doodle and play with it. And then here is the picture of the baby quilt that I used to copy. So then I take this, and this becomes the base for me to put another piece of junk mail. And what I like to do, I bought um, a guillotine cutter, but I love just sitting there and cutting by hand. Now it means that my beads aren't as picture perfect, but I get enjoyment. I just do it because I love it. So I just take, and when I put a strip like this, then I just do the 2 beads, and I cut and then roll them up. And I know I've shown, most of y'all have seen me do this plenty. Now, sometimes it's easier. I just use good old school glue. I buy it by the gallon. It doesn't take that much. I'm still on my first gallon ever that I bought it. I take, sometimes when the paper is a little thin like this, I glue it over. Then that gives me something thicker to put my bead roller on. And then I just roll, 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 trying to keep it pretty centered. But since I cut them by hand, sometimes they're not perfectly centered. And then I take and put a strip of glue down here, close that up so I don't lose any of it. I put a strip of glue a few inches because I want to hold it to hold really well. And then, even though that was a little offset, doesn't matter. I've wound so many, I'm used to it by now. Sometimes you have to, when I do this, it's kind of partly drying that glue, making it a little tackier so that it will hold better. And sometimes I have to kind of hold it just a second. But see, now it's stuck. There is my bead. And then I pull it off and center it and then let it dry. And then if I need to, I can take my scissors and I just kind of go like this and trim to make it even. I sit there, I get all these little tiny papers all over my shirt, but I just give it a little trim like this. Then it will dry and it will wait to be coated with the sealer, which is the triple thick that I use. But just making sure both ends are about, and if you lay, the way I lay the scissors on the top of the bead, it makes the bead end up very square. So now this one's not done. The glue hasn't set, so when I push on this, it pops out here. So I'm just going to take, get those scissors, trim that up just a little. So now that looks much better. So now the next step for this will be triple thick, and then I'll dip it in black, gold, or silver, and then the bead is ready. But some of them I might not like. Some, if I were to make a very natural color, like with this colors, I could take and use a little wooden bead, a natural wooden bead, but that's just what I do. And I'm not saying, oh, that's the most exciting thing. You've got to try it, because do what makes you happy. But I'd like to show you because I have certain little crafts that make me happy. And I love, love, love recycling and repurposing. And it's a very easy way, because I don't know about y'all, but I hate the amount of waste that comes in by junk mail. So, all right, I think that's pretty much all I had. It's not a very exciting day because I worked on the baby quilt, but that's one of the things that I feel I really need to do. um, in fact, after we do show and tell, I'm going to make sure I have this design wall turned around to show you the sweet and cute undersea quilt. Because as soon as I can get back to my color wash quilt and get that done, we're going to do a funny undersea quilt. So let's get ready for show and tell. I'll make sure that's turned around and then show you my quilt. I wish I still had a picture of Jody's Bacon of the Sea, which was her cute, cute, cute octopus quilt. And oh my gosh, that was the cutest, cutest quilt. So let me get ready to show you. And I'll turn this around so that the undersea quilt will be showing as soon as you're done with that. All right, here we go. Let's go and see. Now, I'm not going to have a whole bunch of new photos to show you. It is the dog days of summer after all, and I'm not getting as much done, and I have a feeling you're not either. But it just gets a little bit busy. It's always funny to me because there are different parts of the year that are more productive than the other. So I told Mark I'm going to be really busy in September, but then after then I'll have some time. I'll be get some production done in um, October and November, and then Christmas, and then you get busy again and productive in January and February, and even into March. But then April starts spring in the garden and different things to do. This is Miss Betty Meisner's. I was blown away by this. I'm looking at it thinking, what is it that I love? I mean, she sent this to me. I saw it this morning for the first time. I was gobsmacked. It was amazing. And it is her hand embroidery that she has been working on this summer. It's a very great thing to work on in the summer. That way you don't have a heavy quilt on your lap. But is that gorgeous? I love the color she chose. I love the fact that she cut these little circles out of a multicolored fabric. There's just something to it that I absolutely love, love, love. So I would say, Betty, you get the award of the week for the most amazing piece of work to be shared with us. That is gorgeous. So I love that. And I think that that's something we might want to try. We're going to use some of her pieced fish in our quilt coming up. But look at that. Isn't she something? A great job. Then she sent pictures of her amazing dahlias. Isn't that just beautiful? I love that. Beautiful, beautiful. Look at those. Aren't they amazing? That's a lot of dedication to those flowers. I don't know if you have to dig up your tubers or not, but I remember up where I live, I would have to dig them out and then replant them every year. They're beautiful, hon. And I got so excited about it, I saved it twice. And look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Remember the earlier dahlia that I did this season? I think I'm going to ask Miss Betty if I can use this photo to make another one because that is exquisite. And wouldn't that be pretty in fall colors because of the oranges and the corals and the deep dark burgundy? So that is a keeper. Thank you, Miss Betty. Beautiful. All right. So now let's go back to show and tell. So we're going to say goodbye to this week to wonderful BB's quilt. That is an amazing quilt. I dearly love that. And I'm hoping to hear from her soon. I think she's right busy. But okay. Well, let's see. Miss Bonnie, talk about busy. So I went gallivanting around her blogs, and I didn't realize that poor Miss Bonnie had had a fall recently. Uh, Electric cord got in the way. Boy, do I know about those. And then I think she had had a problem with one of her feet, but she has still been producing. This is her amazing black work. Here is a quilt block that she made for an exchange that she does. I love that. And then here is a wonderful petal quilt. And I made something similar at some points, really good for practicing curve piecing. But look at that. Isn't that lovely? And I can't wait to see. She said she ran out of fabric and she's had to make substitutions, but that's going to be a wonderful quilt for her to enjoy. Here are two of the blocks up close. Love it. And then, oh, and you know what? She had her birthday in July, and I think I failed to say happy birthday, or maybe somebody here help remind me. But Bonnie had a birthday in July. And her sweet friend Susan sent her the loveliest birthday package. I just loved it. And this, I'm trying to remember if this is a block she made for someone or that she received from someone. But I might get them confused, but they're lovely blocks. So she look, and these are wonderful life sayings and that she does in the red work. I'm trying to get it to enlarge and it's not cooperating. Whoa, that's a wee bit too big. Okay. But I love her red work. Good job. So thank you, Miss Bonnie. It's great to see you, and I hope you're feeling better, hon. Miss Charlene, we've got her. Luckily, she still has her beautiful house that got rebuilt after that I forget the name of that hurricane, but she did this storm at sea, and the storm at sea did not trouble her this time, thank goodness. Okay, then let's see. This is Debbie's, and I love to keep showing these because Chloe is so cute. So look at Miss Chloe. What a sweet girl. And I love that. Take notes from that. That is wonderful because we're going to be doing our undersea quilt very soon. All right. Now we have Miss Jody's wonderful Vincent Price. Look at that. Isn't that just beautiful? I keep thinking it should be in a museum. It's just amazing. Okay. Now Miss Julie, I think. Oh yes, she sent me these before last week's show, and they are pretty awesome. Come on, open up. Oh, not that big. For whatever reason, it now has a slider system, and I'm having a hard time to get the slider to work just right. And I think they think, well, that's an improvement. Well, yeah, and yes and no. But look at that. I love these partridges. They're just so cute. And the babies and the eggs in between the rows. I love Julie's work. And Julie, I know that I saw something that you were looking for sources of things. Pardon me. Let me get this back down. This slider is giving me a fit. But is this beautiful? And look at her stitches. These lines are her stitching that give it dimension and realism. Look at the stamens and antlers on those. That is just gorgeous, hon. Absolutely beautiful. But we are going to be working on, well, the first undersea is kind of going to be a landscape, an undersea landscape. Look at this amazing. And I have been seeing some shows on quilting arts that are giving me some ideas for things. In one of them, the woman made a sunflower and she had a type of insert that you could iron and it kind of shrinks up and it changes consistency, but it gives you a lot of opportunity to make the petals take take a three-dimensional shape, and I thought that might be something cool to try too. But anyway, this is just lovely. I would love that. That's the prettiest sunflower I have probably ever seen. And I when I see that, it makes me want to make some more sunflowers. You know what? Why don't we try to make three-dimensional flowers that we can put in a vase using out of fabric and make sunflowers? Hmm. I've got to work on this one. In fact, let me write it down because you know I'll forget if I don't. But 3D sunflowers. Okay, there we go. Right, I've written it down. And I am going to find a way to make that work because I'm going to need something to make the stem. And so I'll have to work on that. That'll be something fun. But I just love Julie's sunflowers. They give me such inspiration. Now we're going to go. Miss Mary, she sent me two photos. Pardon me. One is of her temperature quilt, I don't know if you've heard about temperature quilts, but it's where you keep a record of the daily temperatures, and somehow you choose a color that can relate maybe to the sun or shade or rain and the temperature. I'm not sure. I've never made one, so that's a different thought for me. But look at this. She made a hexagon temperature quilt. Isn't that beautiful? So that's really amazing. But if you look up temperature quilts on Google, they will show you some. So that's wonderful. I admire the work that went into that. Beautiful job, and I love the colors. Then look at this fern plant. It has been a great summer for ferns on her deck. I mean, look how huge that is. That's really amazing. Way to go, Miss Mary. Thank you for sending that. Okay. Now, let's see. All right. Next is, oh, I just have a few little pictures to show you. The first one is the first of the tree falling across our road. It was quite a mess. What made it dangerous was this branch was hanging off of the tree. Behind all of this tulip poplar is a huge oak branch just hanging there. And this is our street. This is right off of our driveway. But the tree came back from over there in our neighbor's yard and then fell. And oh, this is my Hildy. I am loving this little vacuum cleaner. Thank goodness for Amazon's Prime sale. Although I don't have Prime, they did it at the same time, and we were able to get that at a good price. And boy, is she wonderful. Love her. And here's another photo of that tree. And it went 40 feet into this property right here that borders the lake. It was 40 feet just across here. So that was probably a 60-foot tree. It was a big one. And the root ball was 6 feet. And it was standing straight up in the air. So, wow. I'm just glad it didn't hit anyone's house. And luckily, with our wonderful Forsyth County road crews, they got it done. I wanted to show you, I did some of the hand painted or hand drawn flowers on my lace bobbins, but I wanted to show you this seller, I think is from Etsy, and now I have forgotten her name. I apologize. But look, if you want to see beautiful work, this is exquisite. Look at that. So I just did little work with my Sharpies, but she actually did a phenomenal paintings on these bobbins. So I wanted to pass that along. I love when I see other talented people doing amazing things, and that is absolutely beautiful. And her initials are APT. So I don't know if that helps you out any, but she's on Etsy, and that's gorgeous. All right, so that's that for me. And now we'll go back down. Patricia, I showed y'all last week. She knows I love pink flamingos, and she used to live in Myrtle Beach. So she loves pink flamingos. So there we go. I love that. I should put that on a shirt. Now, let me see who is next. Miss Polly. Oh, her two beautiful works. So here is Miss Polly wove this bed runner. She took up weaving, and look how amazing this bed runner is. And that's what always surprises me about her work. She learns something, and then it doesn't take any time before she's looking like a pro. That's really beautiful. And then her string basket. boy, do I like that. Oh, I just found a better way to do that, that little sliding and larger. I forgot about my wheel on my mouse. But isn't that beautiful? So we will be working on that in the next, gosh, maybe 2 weeks or so from now. I'll have to get with Polly and see if she's available. But isn't that gorgeous? I love it. All right, let's go back out. And I think, let me see. I love this grape wreath from Miss Susan. That is beautiful. And then I think there's one more, Miss Vicky, our Joe here. And is that so pretty? And then that, I love that. And you just take a panel, and I would think of cutting it apart and then splicing in, or you may leave the panel solid and get yourself some of the bias trim and put it across, sewing very carefully to keep it lined up. And then you figure out a border. She used a wonderful rail fence, and um, that you've got a lovely, handsome quilt there. So that's it for our show and tell. And I wanted to tell you a couple more things. And let me see. I was going to, oh, yes, show you the undersea quilt, which I just love. And let me get back to y'all. Close this out. Okay, there y'all are. And here is my undersea quilt, just to kind of give you a little idea, so that when we start working on our quilt, it might give you a little head start about what you can do. All right, and then let me see. I know what I was going to tell you about. Oops. Let me get this back in place. I was watching Quilting Arts, and I love reading certain magazines and watching certain shows because I get so many ideas from it. And one of the ladies was talking about when she does raw edge applique, she cannot have the fabric fray. And I'm going to watch it again and write down some notes, but I just wanted to tell you that she takes, like a Mod Podge, she just said a decoupage liquid. She thins it. I think she was using 3 parts water and 1 part Mod Podge, something like that. I will write the notes down. Every time you see a pink flamingo, oh, thank you, sweetie. And I got that. I started collecting them after going to the Myrtle Beach quilt party every year, and I just love it. But she took, I think it's 3 parts water to 1 part Mod Podge, but I'll get the directions completely. She paints the fabric, lets it dry, and it's amazing. It stiffens it enough, and it does not fray. And I found that interesting. It does change the feel of the fabric a little, but then she's able to cut out really interesting shapes. She's able to stitch it down with her machine right along the edge, and it doesn't fray. So I will find out more information from that and tell you next week. But I saw that and thought, I never thought of that. So, oops, let me make sure my computer's plugged in. All right, my camera wasn't plugged in good enough. And so I wanted to tell you that because I thought that's fascinating. And I'm just wondering, especially like if you did little circles or little bubbles, or when we're doing our underwater quilt, some of the little tiny appliques, that might make it a lot easier. So I just thought, if you have a place where you can look up Quilting Arts TV and watch that. My heart belongs to landscape and art quilts. So anytime I see a chance to give y'all a hint to make art quilting a little easier, I love that. All right, I think I'm about done this time. Any questions that you might have at all, um, please feel free to ask me. I'll try to glance back just a little. Oh, I understand, Pat. Hi, Pat. I didn't. That was Pat, not Charlene. Oh, are you watching on your phone? That's hard to see. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I'm sorry, but chatting is great. Chatting is so good because we are a quilting bee. We're a virtual quilting bee, and we've become friends with each other. It's fun to chat and reach out. And for a lot of us anymore, it's harder to go out, and especially COVID. COVID keeps spiking and then going down and spiking, and that Olympic athlete ran a race 2 days after he had he failed a COVID test. I mean, oh my goodness, people, be careful. So, oh, you got to one block before your surgery. I don't. You keep all your bits and pieces in a pencil box. That's great. I'll be so glad when your shoulder can do anything again, hon. I tell you what, a rotor cuff injury is a very tough one. It's not an easy fix. So you just keep doing your very best. And hopefully at the end of this month, when the classes registration comes out for Myrtle Beach Quilt Party, hopefully you'll feel like you can do it this year, because I just I love it. Now that I have a friend to go and see and enjoy, that I'm even more excited. So that's wonderful, sweetie. So well, thank you so much, everybody. And let me know if you have any questions. I hope I answered Charlene's good. Our number this month was number 8. So and if you're wondering, what is this number she's picking? It's because we were doing a UFO challenge. And every month we had people like write 12 items that they wanted to get done during the year. And whoever does the most will get a gift certificate from me. And so that way, oh, 8, I'll go look at my paper. Oh, that's this project that I put down in the number 8 position. So anyway, thank you to Miss Joni for suggesting that we do a UFO challenge. Anything that helps me get some of my projects done is a good thing. Oh, and I wanted to tell y'all, Mark just had a birthday. So we celebrated Mark's birthday. And then my youngest grandson has a birthday coming up end of next week. And he's going to be 4 years old. Can you imagine being 4 years old? Your whole life is out there in front of you. So I think I'm all done. If there are no questions. Oh, good. Even if you can't sew, good, good, darling. And I can help. I can help you carry or set up whatever you need, because I'm just so excited that you're going to come. That's exciting. That's wonderful. So we love at Myrtle Beach Quilt Party. If you're willing to fly in, we have ladies that come from Maine or New Hampshire, but just go to mbqp.com, I believe. But look up Myrtle Beach Quilt Party, and you can always write a note in saying, do you have any openings? And I think she did. They've been doing it probably for about 40 years. And so some people have aged out of it, sadly. But, pardon me, myrtlebeachquiltparty.net. So it's mbqp.net. Okay, guys? Thank you, Miss Lisa. You're so good. .net. Okay. And then, hi, Terry Lynn Leonard. Oh, you're such a sweetie. Hi, Miss Joe. It is so great to see all of you. So, unless you have any questions, I think I'm going to pick up that baby quilt, get the rest of the binding sewn around, and that way I have something fun to work on tonight while I'm watching the closing ceremony of the Olympics. Tell you what, we've seen some amazing Olympics. And I've got to tell you, I'm loving the new joy and hope thing that's going around. And even with the Olympics, it is such a joyful experience. It's like the whole world is ready to be happy again and to reach out to each other and enjoy life. It's the only life you get. There's not a second time around. So make the best of it. For me, that means doing my artwork, my creativity, every moment I get a chance. All right. So please take good care of yourself. I'll see you next week. And I better have more done because we're getting behind if I can't catch up quickly. But take good care of yourself. Do pick a day and do something nice just for you. You can't take care of other people if you don't first take care of yourself. So do something just for you. Oh, now it's info now. Okay, looks like it changed. It's info now. So Myrtle Beach Quilt Party at info. I don't know, but type in Myrtle Beach Quilt Party. It's a quilting retreat and it's usually held in January. So the third week of January, you'll know you've got the right place and see if you can come join us. It's a lot of fun. We stay right on the beach in a hotel and they give a discount on the rates and it's a lot of fun. So, all right, everybody, take good care. Joe, it's so good to see you. Take good care, everybody. Bye bye. Have a great week. See you Sunday. Bye bye, everybody.